When I'm at the bookstore and I'm trying to decide between two different books, here's what I do. I take the first book, I read the front flap and then the back flap. Then I take the second book, I do the same thing. And then what I do is I buy 8 books. So I went a little bit crazy on books this month, but it's nowhere near my most unhinged book haul. They did, however, take advantage of my one weakness, that I'm weak. There's one book I bought actually that I've been looking forward to for so incredibly long, and I've finished it already. Like when it arrived, it took me maybe 2.5 days, like maybe not even that long, to just rip through the entire thing. And I'm not going to keep you waiting for the whole video to tell you which book that was. It's The Art of Spending Money by Morgan Housel. And I'm going to have lots more to say about this one later on. But as of right now, it is easily in my top 3 favorite books of the year. And right up there with Sahil Bloom's The 5 Types of Wealth, which was really fantastic. There's another great one called Mastery by George Leonard. That's just another absolute favorite book of mine so far this year. And as of right now, I've read, I think, 69 books or 70 books, somewhere around there. And yeah, Art of Spending Money was easily like top 3. So that's book number 1 in this book haul. I'll start off with a history book actually, and I don't read a ton of history books, but I actually just finished *Sapiens* not too long ago. This one's a biography of Catherine the Great by this guy Robert K. Massey, and he's won the Pulitzer Prize before for his work, but this will be the first book of his that I've actually read. And I think of Catherine the Great as like Marcus Aurelius of Russia. If you've read *Meditations*, one of my favorite books ever. I know I say that a lot, but I stand by it in this case. *Meditations* is just phenomenal. But you've got this guy, like a Roman emperor, and he was, he was dealing with a lot of shit. He's got civil wars and plagues and foreign invasions and all of these things, just running an empire while being a parent and just doing all these things, right? He had a difficult life. It's the same thing with Catherine the Great. I say this, without having read the biography yet, just reading the back, what she had to go through in order to reach the highest echelon of Russian imperial society and just make it to the very top and stay there for decades. I anticipate really, really liking this one. Kind of around the same period ish. You've got another biography if you like that kind of thing. Napoleon: A Life by Andrew Roberts. Again, like I won't go too much into it because it's like not the purpose of this video, but it is easily one of the best biographies I have ever read. It reads like a novel, and Napoleon himself said, what a novel my life has been. And just like the book reads like that. It is just one of the best books I have ever read, biography or not, like in any genre. Napoleon: A Life, Andrew Roberts. I have, pages and pages of notes from this thing. It's phenomenal. It stayed with me for, I think, 2022 was when I read it first, and it stayed with me till then. It made a really big impact on me, and I'm not sure if this one will do the same. I don't think so, but I do expect to really like this one too. And where are we going next? I guess we'll go to Rome. We've got Roman Mythology, A Traveler's Guide from Troy to Tivoli. I haven't started this one yet, as is the case with most of these books, but it's almost like a walking tour of the Roman Empire through the lens of mythology. So it's kind of going through, city by city, province by province, going into the myths and legends and stories that evolved out of those areas and bringing it all together in this one epic guide to Roman mythology. And so I expect to really like this one. I've got another book about mythology, Greek mythology by Edith Hamilton, and it looks real. It looks spectacular, and I can't wait to get into that one too. But I've had that one for a while. But right now we're talking about new books. So I'm going to move on. I also have some pretty cool book business news, and I recently accepted an advisory position to this book app called Book Genius. I have a ton of book apps on my phone. This is one of them that I use the most often now. It's especially good for remembering what you read. They've got a quiz system. You can basically quiz yourself on any number. Like their vast library of books. Sometimes the quizzes are, 30 or 40 questions. Sometimes there's 100 plus questions to really solidify your learning. And where I find that's most helpful is when you let a few days go, maybe even a few weeks go by between finishing the book and going back to it. What I'll do is read, review, copy out my notes while I'm reading it, and then I'll leave it for a day, a couple days, and then I'll review those notes, kind of test myself. Self-testing, forced recall, spaced repetition, which is basically what I'm describing now. These are all super helpful things for remembering more and solidifying your memory, solidifying those concepts in your mind. And by doing that, you help yourself remember. So it's a really cool app, and it's not just book quizzes. You've got summaries, podcasts for each book that will give you a nice summary of the book. There's book clubs on the app as well. I'm actually building one out myself, and so I'll be telling you more about that. But Book Genius, you can download it at the link in the video description. And when you use that link for the annual subscription, you get 56% off. Thank you to Book Genius for sponsoring this video and for having me as an advisor to the company. I think that's super cool, and I'm looking forward to making this one of the top book apps in the App Store. I'm working on rounding out my Shakespeare collection, actually, and so I've read, quite a bit of Shakespeare in the past, but it's only in 2014 that I started counting the number of books that I'd read, and I am the first to say that this is it's a total vanity metric. You don't have to. Like, you do not have to keep track of the number of books you read, and like it's literally not about that. I find it motivating personally. I enjoy keeping track. I find it really helpful actually for what I do. And for example, so I mean, talking about the Napoleon book, I can go back to my list of books from 2022, and I can see approximately when I read it. I'll be doing a book list for best books of 2022 or 2025, like whatever year. I have them all listed out, and basically I have them organized by book and by year. I find it really cool. What I was like getting at here is that ever since I started counting, I haven't read any Shakespeare. I don't believe. I've read books by Stephen Greenblatt on Shakespeare. I've read, some things where he comes up. There's a great book called Tyrant by Stephen Greenblatt, and but no, I haven't read any like actual Shakespeare books in years and years and years, or like plays. And so I rectified that the other day with King Lear and The Merchant of Venice, which are two books, by the way. It's not King Lear and The Merchant of Venice, but uh, King Lear, Merchant of Venice. And then we've got The Call of the Wild by Jack London. And I don't know too much about this book, but I've been seeing him around a lot lately, just people talking about him. There's a story I heard about his writing process, and they said that he used to write for 20 hours every single day. He rigged up this alarm clock to like have something like heavy object like fall on his head to wake him up if he overslept, like if he got more than 4 hours sleep every night. There's somebody who, I don't know, like I guess they don't like his books very much. They said, yeah, it's obvious that he got hit in the head with a heavy object, to write books like this. But Call of the Wild, and I don't know, everything that I've seen about by Jack London, I'm interested to know more. Right, so I saw this and it was kind of on the front of my consciousness for the last little while. So it just in the cart, Call of the Wild. Then we've got this one. It's called The Heroine with 1,001 Faces by Maria Tatar. And her project in this book is a sort of updating or, filling in of the work of Joseph Campbell, and specifically his book, which is called The Hero with 1,000 Faces. It is one of my favorite books of all time. Like, it's actually incredible. But a very, valid criticism of that book is that, women in myth and legends, they're very underrepresented in that book. Like, it's very sort of, male dominated. And that's her, project here. So she's got the heroine with 1,001 faces. I'm not sure where she's getting the extra face from, but I'm going to find out when I read it. It looks really, really good. And she's a professor from Harvard, which doesn't, by the way, guarantee that she's smart. But I was flipping through this and I liked what I'd read so far. And odds are, like most professors are pretty smart, but if you've been kind of like hanging around the internet recently, just like different, I don't know, I'm not going to get into that. Just like professors these days say and write some really stupid shit. But I don't think she's one of those people. This one looks really, really good. Then I've got a quick 500-page Halloween book called Mr. X by Peter Straub. I haven't read it yet, obviously, and I've never actually read anything by Peter Straub before. Quote on the back really kind of got me interested, and this woman, Megan Abbott, she says, "You begin a Peter Straub novel tantalized by the elegant language and the promise of delicious dread and gothic terrors, and then always something deeper and more mysterious happens. Slowly, you get the uncanny feeling that you're not reading him, he's reading you, intuiting all your darkest fears, ones so private you don't dare say them aloud." The last part's kind of like maybe a little overwrought, but I do like horror novelists who can actually write too. They're not just kind of like shock value or just kind of like, you know what I mean, if you've read that kind of stuff. And actually, there's a book I've got on the go right now, 11/22/63 by Stephen King. And that one's really, really good. I've got like 600, no, 500 pages left. I'm making progress, but it's really good too. And like, 'tis the season, right? So, Mr. X by Peter Straub, and then this one was sent to me by the author, and it's called The Upside of Down by John Ulsh. subtitle is A Survivor's Guide to Turning Setbacks into Success. And what happened in John's case, he had this like horrific car accident, and he was in a coma for a long time. Again, I haven't read it yet. I think something like I want to say like months and months. Like it was a very, very serious crash, and he basically, I mean, he woke up and lived, and like one, I mean, just getting to that point is enough. So he didn't just survive; like he had to rebuild his entire life. And this book is about how he did that. And he also wrote a nice message inside the front of the book for me. And I'm actually. Like I usually check the books that people send me because they usually do write something nice in the front. But I'm just reading this now. But I thought it was like super cool. He says, Matt, thanks for helping me get my message of perseverance out to the world, John Ulsh. So The Upside of Down looks really good. And yeah, so that rounds out my recent book haul. I'm going to leave it there, but thanks very much for watching this video. And if you want to build an unbreakable reading habit, you're going to want to watch this video right here.
I don't waste time, no, I make time. All these people wanna hate, fine, I'ma make mine. While you sitting there complaining, I'll be training. While you sitting there just waiting, I'm creating. Yeah.